Good evening and welcome to Real Talk, where every Sunday night we offer insight, education, and resources for in-home caregivers and those affected in their world, the children, the parents, the extended family, and everyone who loves them. Our goal is to offer real-life topics and learning through discussing real issues and offering real solutions. Tonight, I am very excited to welcome our guest and my friend, Marley Hudanish. Marley, hey, I got it right. Normally,
You did.
normally I'm still saying Driscoll. Oh wait, no, I have to go back.
My dad still doesn't even know. We can't seem to figure out the right name yet either. So
Get there. So Marley is a master newborn care specialist, a certified newborn care specialist, specialized in newborn care by Cash, and a former INA Nanny of the Year. That's when I first met Marley. Tonight, we're going to dig into one aspect of kind of her career and the things that she's done, and we're going to discuss all around that topic. We had a lot of things to talk about, but I think tonight's probably going to get centered on one because this is kind of a big topic. And I know Marley's going to share some really amazing takeaways that are going to benefit you, whether you're a parent or you're a caregiver. There's going to be some great stuff for you tonight. So, Marley, welcome. I'm glad to have you tonight.
Hi, thanks. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So before we kind of get into our topic for the night, Marley, I would love if you could tell us kind of a little bit about yourself and kind of your journey into the nanny and then the NCS world, because your journey is yours is an interesting one. So I would love
a little different.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it. I grew up in a jungle. I was 5 years old when we moved to Indonesia, and we lived there until, we were there for 12 years. And the school system goes from kindergarten through 8th grade. So I had to go to boarding school in San Marcos, Texas. And I never even knew what a nanny was until I was doing a lot of babysitting, and the librarian mentioned, "Have you ever thought about being a nanny?" I had no idea what that was. She hands me the Mary Poppins book, and it changed my life. I had the great privilege of going to the Norland Academy, Norland College in Bath, England, where the famous nannies come from. The royals hire there. I had an interview with them. It just wasn't the right fit at the right time. And then I went to nanny school in Denver, and I can't remember the name of it. Oh, the National Academy of Nannies Incorporated, and I graduated in '93. And then I was just full-time professional nanny for many years. And then things started changing around 2013. I went to my first INA conference, and I loved it, and it changed my life. 2 years later, I was Nanny of the Year. So that was very exciting. And I also started becoming an NCS. I was doing night nanny, and I wasn't really sure what I was doing. And so I was working as an NCS and as a nanny full time for a while, like 22-hour days, 6 days a week for 4 years. I don't recommend that to anybody, but it was insane, but I loved it. And I've spoken about multiples with the advanced program, and Newborn Care Solutions keeps creating all these wonderful advanced trainings for us. And I became a master through the program. I was the first master to come through the program, so I'm very proud of that. I'm Cash certified, and let's see. Oh, and I'm also through the International Nanny Association. I am credentialed in both nanny and NCS. And I reside in Houston, Texas, and I primarily work with multiples.
Yeah. And frankly, our advanced level classes all the way through Master NCS to a great degree are your fault anyway, because you kept saying, but I want more, I want more.
I want more.
Yeah. And
I did.
So that is absolutely a common passion that you and I share, which is continually educating, continuing to learn so that we can serve our families better. because
I
that
agree.
that really is the goal of it, is to provide better care to the families so that they thrive. And so it's been fun because you continue to challenge me, and that keeps me going. And it's part of what I thrive on too. So,
But it's helped me so much because my career changed completely. I thought I was always going to be a professional nanny for many years, and I retired from the nanny industry. And I love doing this. I have triplets right now, probably a little sleep deprived right now. So and but it's changed my life, and I'm so grateful and just grateful for the experience.
so we're going to talk tonight around our topic. And Marley, by the way, Marley kind of mentioned it, but she's a little bit humble about it. Marley actually is the instructor in our advanced program about yeah, about working with higher order multiples. I've done sextuplets. I've done lots of triplets, but Marley's done all across the board, and she's got way more experience with higher order multiples than I do. She's got her system. It works. People are happy. Babies are happy. And so, yeah, we actually asked Marley to help us with that, and she did a great job. So
Thank
we're
you.
good. I'm glad you did a great job. Um, so we're going to dig into our topic for tonight, and we're going to talk about something that it seems like everybody wants to know about. And I want to kind of talk to you about healthy sleep habits. And we're going to share some tips and some insight, and we might talk about a few other things, but we're going to see where this goes. Um, Define for us, or tell us, what does that mean? What are healthy sleep habits?
So healthy sleep habits, it's really important that babies get quality sleep because if they're sleeping in the swing in the living room with the TV on, they're getting junk sleep. And then there's not getting good quality sleep. It doesn't prevent them from growing, but it encourages it. We all need good quality sleep. We don't need junk sleep. You can sleep on a plane, but you hear everything going on. And healthy sleep habits is from the very beginning. They're in their crib. They're safely swaddled. There's no bumpers. There's nothing in the crib, and we are focusing on what um, the training we've gotten and we follow the American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines. And so safe sleep, flat on their back, swaddled, and nothing else in the crib.
Mhm.
So, and we have to be an advocate because there's a lot of really amazing products out there, baby products. It's a huge industry, but there's also a lot of really dangerous products out there. And often, and again, one of the wonderful things you've taught us is we walk in, we see a rock and play. In the past, we were having a waiver sign, and now it's like, nope, we're removing this from the house completely because they have been fully recalled. So we don't want babies sleeping in the swing. We don't want babies sleeping on a boppy. We want them to. So it's empowering and teaching the parents how to do this. Um, Almost all of my babies have had reflux because they are usually preemies or micro-preemies. But full-term babies can have reflux also. Being inclined feels amazing, but we can't let them sleep like that. So it's about showing them how to get through the reflux, get through and work on healthy sleep habits. And because what happens, unfortunately, is when the parents are exhausted, that's when the mistakes happen. The mistakes happen at 3 o'clock in the morning when they're like, I just need 10 more minutes of sleep. And that's when it gets dangerous. So if this becomes but it's also good for the baby too. The baby is safe and everything like that. So there's a lot of different techniques and stuff that we can do.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned we can teach this to the parents, because a lot of times people think that all we do is go in and take care of the babies. But a huge component of our job is support and education for the parents that we're working with to make everything a safer environment for all of them. So
I agree. And I feel like that's definitely our responsibility is to empower the parents
Mhm.
to give them the confidence that they can do this.
Mhm.
because at some point we will leave,
Right?
unless you're going to stay for 8 years as an NCS. But I think so. I think that's what it is. But and they want to know so much. It's not even just about the sleep; it's about everything else that goes on. How do you give them a bath? How do you just all the basic newborn care baby
Mhm.
needs?
Right. For sure. So if you're coming into a job, say I'm your client and you're coming into a job and I have a new baby and I don't know anything about sleep. You know what? Maybe I'm the best lawyer in town and I know everything there is to know around that. But now I've got a 7-pound baby in front of me and I don't know anything about it and I'm exhausted and I'm
Scared.
covering, I'm scared. Holy cow, how am I going to provide for this human? It's hard enough to provide for myself. Now I have to provide for and love and care for and
Keep
educate
it
others.
alive.
Yeah, all those things, right? So I'm a new parent. What are you going to come in and tell me in terms of helping set me and the baby up for success so that over time, when it's developmentally appropriate, that baby is sleeping through the night? What are some of those really concrete tips you give to families and you would give to caregivers out there also?
I think a lot of times I do a lot of consultations, and so I think a lot of times when we go in and we need to see their sleeping environment. I often refer to it as their sleeping room. I think you taught me that, because nothing fun happens in the dark. Mobile over the crib is just basically a disco ball in the middle of the night. So seeing the room, seeing where they're going to sleep, what the parents are already doing, because sometimes some parents are spot on. They've read the books and everything, and sometimes we just need to tweak a few things. Um, so I like to come in and see the environment and talk to the parents. Find out, was the birth traumatic? There's just so many different questions. It's not just coming in and like, okay, so let's make our. So one of the things that we always do is make the room very, very dark. The babies will do better if they don't know the difference between 3 p.m. and 3 a.m. And when I say dark, I mean dark. Like you cannot see your hand. What the goal is that all of my techniques are very gentle. I don't do any crying it out. So I need to sneak into the room or be in the room with them, and they never even know I'm there helping, guiding them through it. Helping the parents is just also helping the parents understand the importance of, well, look, my baby's still asleep in the swing while we're all sitting here talking, and how important that she would get the better quality of sleep if she was actually in her own bed, in her own sleeping environment. Um, and so I think it's just a matter of just kind of, we also have to listen to each family. There's families who like to co sleep. So let's do the safest way we can. If you're going to co sleep, no sheets and no comforter, and no big, wonderful stuffed pillow and everything like that. Or maybe have a bassinet right next to them, kind of thing. So I think it's just every family's different and what they want. And some parents want to co sleep until they're one. I get calls after that when they're finally ready. So I think it's just a matter of what do they want, but how to empower them is showing them, like, we don't have bumpers in the crib. We just, you look around for anything safety wise that you're like, oh, this could be a problem, or something like that, or we don't let them sleep in the swing, kind of, just listening to them,
Mhm.
um, guiding them.
Right. So if I'm hearing you correctly, what I'm kind of hearing is that there's some core foundations that go into this, like a safe sleep environment. Um, but at the end of the day, this is really kind of an individual thing, that it's based on the family and the family's desires for their particular situation, and then finding them the best solution based on their individuality. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. And we're also looking into things like, we're also working with a mom. Does she have postpartum depression? Does she have postpartum anxiety? We don't diagnose, but we can see signs, and then we can have a plan and talk to the doctor. So I think a lot of it is it's just like, some moms are really struggling with sleep, or I have had some moms who like, they want us there all the way until the end, until they are sleeping through the night and nobody has to get up for any reason at all. And their moms, They just want to do a little bit at a time, or they need a couple of nights sleep. So I think it's just really individual to what they need. But we're looking at the whole unit, the whole picture. We're looking at what is the mom going through? Is she struggling with breastfeeding? Is she just exhausted? And I mean, just we are very careful we don't diagnose, but we know the experts to go to.
Mhm.
And I had a mom just recently who did have she did have postpartum anxiety and was diagnosed. And I walked in and the whole house hadn't slept in weeks and
Mhm.
weeks. And I just kind of did a hard reset
Mhm.
and got everybody situated. But I mean, my biggest concern at that point was the mom. She was really, really struggling. And once everybody could get some sleep, then things got better, and then I was able to get the baby sleeping.
Yeah, that's a key component of what we do, and something I talked about. I just taught a class this last weekend virtually because that's our world these days. But nevertheless, that's one of the things that I talk about a lot in class is that it isn't just a one focused goal. We have to look at the whole picture. And sometimes there's a need that is more urgent than dealing with sleep right now. And that's a
Right.
classic case of that. A lot of our audience are nannies. And one of the other things I talk about a lot is that nannies, if they're working during the day and the NCS is there at night, the best thing they can possibly do is work together as a team. Because if we're working against each other, that messes everything up. So, do you have any tips for nannies who are working with kids during the day that would help support what's going on at night so that babies are sleeping better and ultimately everybody's happier and the job is easier for the nanny?
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it's explaining to the nanny that what happens during the day directly impacts our night. That actually also might be one of your quotes. But I say it often is because I can tell coming in on a Sunday night after the parents have had the baby, and I come in on Sunday night, I'm just like, wow, no nap today. I can tell because they're flopping around like fish, and so the next day I'm like, so we didn't have a nap, And so having them understand it, talking to the nanny and I actually have met nannies for breakfast instead of trying to do it as a pass off, like, okay, this is how our night was going and good luck, today. I try to go and have breakfast or a meal or something with a nanny, get to know her and let her understand, especially when there's resistance. Some nannies catch on, they're like, great. If they learn to do this, the routine is really great, but it also gives the nanny she'll actually get windows of time. She knows she'll be able to have a break or to do something else. And so having her meeting up with her, explaining to her how important it is. And I actually had one point, I finally said, I had to sit her down after many, many conversations and just said, look, bottom line is the sooner you can get this, the faster I'll be gone. And it was, but we ran into each other not too long ago and she apologized. She said, I didn't understand how important it was and I was like, yeah, I mean, it is that important. We are working really, really hard. Most of our babies are sleeping through the night, 3 or 4 months old, depending on adjusted ages or anything like that. And that's super important that to this day, they're still 3, 5 years old, still sleeping through the night.
Mhm.
And so it makes a huge difference and for everybody's sanity.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. That component of working together and kind of, eh, honestly, I would tell the nannies out there, follow the lead of the NCS that you're working with, unless for some reason you're working with somebody who might be doing something that isn't safe. But
Right.
otherwise, follow their lead. It's not about somebody trying to tell you what to do. It's about somebody trying to set you up for success. That's what I say all the time. We're trying to set these families up for success. We're trying to set these
Yeah.
babies up for success. And just putting those solid sleep foundations in place will do that. They will naturally and organically do this on their own when they're
Hmm.
physiologically ready to do so if we set them up for success.
I
And
agree.
working together is huge in doing that. And
I also will go into a family, and if I'm going to be there for a while, I always ask to take lead, because I can help everybody get everybody on the right schedule. All of us get on the same page. If there's a team of us that can get like who's in charge, who's, that kind of thing. So I usually just ask. And then it's same thing with a nanny. I mean, even if she's been there for a while and this is their second child, I still want to kind of lead on this.
Right. Absolutely. So if you had kind of one thing, one big takeaway, if you didn't listen to anything else I said tonight, but listen to this, what's your one big takeaway for families, for nannies, anybody around baby sleep?
Let's see. Consistency. I would definitely say consistency will be it. Even because babies will, even if they're sleeping through the night, they will start teething. They'll start, every time they're on the verge of greatness, they will lose sleep. I always tell parents that I don't look at the 4-month as a regression. I look at it as he's on the verge of greatness. And every time the baby is on the verge of greatness, their sleep is going to change. So I tell parents that you've been planning a trip for a year, and finally it's the night before, and you're running around. Do you have your passport? Is Uber going to be here on time? Will your alarm go off? All of these things are going through your head. You don't sleep very well usually that night because you're so excited to go. Cognitively, about 4 months old, the babies are going through that. Their body is just kind of really gearing up. And so anytime they're on the verge of greatness, their sleep is going to change. So that happens when they're rolling over, they're sitting up, teething. Greatness comes with that eventually. But if you have them on a great schedule, you'll be able to bring them back to basics pretty quickly. And that's key. So I think it's just consistency. So anytime you hit one of those hurdles or if somebody is sick, just keep going. And as soon as you can get back to the way it was, the better. Because if not, I'll see you in about 9 months. Because when parents are like, okay, well, so he got sick. And that was 6 months ago, and they never got back to basics.
Right. And that's another thing that you and I have always been totally in agreement on. Your phrase has always been when they're on the verge of greatness. I say it's not a 4-month sleep regression. It's a 4-month sleep progression. It means
that's
they're
right.
moving on to the next phase, and it's a positive, not a negative. And it's amazing how just a reframing of that kind of concept for families can be huge, because anytime we reframe something in the positive, it changes how we approach it.
I agree. And they feel much more confident about it. Like, oh, okay, this is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And honestly, here's a tip: is our babies that are usually great sleepers by time we're 3 or 4 months old, they really don't regress as long as the other ones who were never on a schedule and stuff like that. So that's another bonus.
Absolutely. So. That's all. That setting them up for success right from the get-go makes everything go better. It's just everything about it. And I 100% agree with you on consistency. That applies to everything with kids, frankly. But let's acknowledge it's a lot harder as a parent than it is when you are the caregiver. And as being both, I get it. I understand that it's challenging, but nevertheless, consistency is absolutely a key thing. And that's a great tip.
I agree.
So
thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us tonight on Real Talk, Marley. It has, as always, it is so much fun to spend time with you. And it is just an honor to get to learn with you. And I hope that our audience feels like I do, that you've shared some really great takeaways. If you have any questions about this topic or anything related to Marley and the work that she does, please put them in the feed and tag her or tag Newborn Care Solutions. And we'll make sure that even if you are seeing this on replay or later on, that she gets that question and you get an answer. And if you're wanting to watch this, rewatch this segment or catch any of our other past Real Talk segments, you can access those along with all of our other content on our website at newborncaresolutions.com and click on the education tab. So thanks for joining us, Marley, and
thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.